So today we're talking about the tiny home revolution. Take a look at your banking statement. Like seriously, pull out your phone right now and take a look at your banking statement. Seriously, look at it. Between the mortgage or rent, the soaring insurance premium, the utility bills, you're likely spending over half your waking hours working a stressful job just to pay for a roof you only see when you're exhausted. It's a state of perpetual cognitive overload. And frankly, the modern hustle culture, the math is mathing all the wrong directions, in my opinion. But a quiet, hyper-modern underground movement is quietly executing a backdoor escape route. So, hey y'all, and welcome to the Underground Almanac. So around here, we call it UGA. And no, it's not the University of Georgia, Roll Tide. Here at UGA, we uncover overlooked opportunities, question conventional wisdom, and have an honest conversation about making more money, saving more money, living with less stress, and building a life that's intentionally designed instead of accidentally financed. So I did some digging so you wouldn't have to. So grab your coffee because this one completely changed the way I look at home ownership. So here's the story, and I'll be honest. When I first heard about the tiny home movement, I thought, really? Tiny kitchens, tiny closets, tiny couches, tiny everything. I figured it was just another Instagram trend, beautiful cabins in the woods, people pretending they don't miss having a pantry, and then everybody somehow smiling while cooking Thanksgiving dinner on 2 burners. But then I started digging, and that's when I realized this isn't really a story about tiny homes. It's a story about financial freedom. So if that loop sounds all too familiar, I get it. The Underground Almanac is your sanctuary from the noise. Around here, we don't do standard corporate grind culture. We decode the hidden loopholes, expose the financial traps, and then build actionable blueprints for an unshakable, debt-free life. We're talking organic living, ultimate travel freedom, and maximizing your peace of mind. So let's drop some unfudgeable statistics on the table. Now, I don't even know if unfudgeable is a word, but let's just roll with it for now because mainstream culture loves a good gaslighting session. The average traditional home in these United States of America has officially mutated past $400,000. Now that locks you into a lifelong debt sentence. In the meantime, a custom high aesthetic tiny home averages between $45,000 and let's just say somewhere around $65,000. Because the entry barrier is so low, a staggering 68% of tiny home owners have exactly zero mortgage. I'm talking no monthly notes, no banking overloads, and their utility bills are basically couch change, like something under $50 globally. So think about the paradigm shift here. When you structurally delete a $2,000 or $3,000 monthly, I'm talking monthly housing payments, your life becomes instantly fluid. So you aren't depriving yourself. You are aggressively funding what actually matters. And I get it, guys. This may not be for everybody, but if you're the type person who just don't want that extraordinary amount of debt and pressure on you for a $500,000 home or more, then this could very well be for you. So think about it like this. You can work remotely from a laptop by the lake because your overhead is microscopic. That freed up capital instantly and funnels into a real world assets allocation. So rather that's traveling the world for 3 months a year, padding a retirement nest egg that isn't tied to a real estate bubble, or fully funding a college fund for your grandkids so that they don't start life out in a debt hole, Downsizing isn't about losing space, really, guys. It's a pursuit of structural autonomy. But of course, there's always a catch. If this layout is so perfect, you might be asking, why isn't everyone doing it? Well, first of all, not everyone wants a tiny home. This is for people who want financial freedom, the ability to travel more, save more money, have financial freedom not tied to $3, $4, and $5 and $6 and above $1,000 mortgage every month. And also, it's because local city halls are low-key gatekeeping the entire movement. So if you've ever tried to get a tiny home approved, you already know they love to slap you with the red tape. They claim it's a public safety issue. But let's be real. Follow the money. Always follow the money, y'all. It's entirely about property taxes and, the outdated code books. So the way it works is, they'll tell you, excuse me, according to our 1950 zoning laws, a house has to be huge, and if it has wheels, it's a trailer that belongs in a trailer park and not a backyard. Now, translation? Small houses mean smaller property values, y'all. That's what that means, which also means less money for the city to burn. Plus, the local NIMBYs, not in my backyard crowd, they panic because they think a sleek, minimalist setup is going to tank their inflated real estate equity. But here's how the underground movement is winning right now. States are finally stepping in to crush these local monopolies. Look at the legal landscape shifting. New statewide mandates are forcing cities to legally allow accessory dwelling units, including detached tiny homes right in their backyards. So they literally cannot ban them in most states. So what does this mean? Well, it means that you can execute the ultimate backyard hack. Quietly move into a sleek, high-efficiency tiny unit yourself. Enjoy a slow, organic, stress-free routine and rent out the main front house for pure market rate cash flow. Hey, that's my opinion. So when people hear the word organic, they immediately think about food. But true organic living isn't just about the food you eat. It's about how you guard your peace of mind. So true luxury today isn't a massive pile of debt. It's a small footprint, a heavy bank account, and the ultimate status symbol: total control over your time. So the smartest people I know are choosing less so that they can experience more. They're stepping off the hamster wheel. And honestly, if you're thinking this specific lifestyle isn't for you, I totally get it. But don't click out just yet, because even if a tiny home isn't your immediate play, well, one day it might be. Or one of our upcoming life hacks might hit the absolute bullseye for your exact situation very soon. So stay with us. So let's take a look at some true life stories, right? Sarah and Marcus, let's call them that. 3 years ago, they were drowning in like $2,800 a month in rent, the rent trap. They were living in Austin, Texas, working a combined 90 hours a week just to keep their heads above water. They sold, get this, guys, they sold 80% of what they owned, bought a $55,000 custom tiny home layout, and placed it on a cheap plot of family land. Their fixed housing cost, get this, went from nearly $35,000 a year to zero in just 36 months. So they completely wiped out 40 grand in student loans, built a massive travel fund, and then Sarah transitioned to a fully remote part-time design job. So they didn't lose their lifestyle, they bought back their sanity. So here's another true story. Let's call him Glenn, a 52-year-old contractor who realized that his massive 4-bedroom suburban house was essentially a giant vacuum cleaner for his retirement fund. He built a high-end 350 square foot luxury tiny unit in his own backyard, moved into it, and rented out the main front house for $2,400 a month. Now, Glenn didn't just save money, y'all. He turned his biggest liability into an automated cash engine. So he's currently traveling through Central America on the front house's dime, working remotely only when he wants to, not because he has to. So on average, people making the shift are saving over $24,000 a year in pure cash flow. So that is money that isn't being incinerated by interest rates or property taxes. It's capital that goes straight into retirement accounts, grandkids' college fund, regular savings accounts, or passport stamps, whichever suits your fancy. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds incredible, but how do I actually start without getting buried in legal paperwork or getting scammed by some bad builder? And you do have to be careful, guys. But not to worry, I got you covered. I got your back. Check out the description box. I have linked the exact resource to the unmapped tiny home registries. So it's the Appendix Q building guides and the specific state by state zoning maps that show you exactly where you have the legal right to park or build with zero municipal interference. So use those. It is the exact homework you need to bypass the gatekeepers legally, that is. So I just couldn't really even fathom that we've been missing these statistics for so long. So when I came across these statistics, it completely changed the way I looked at the tiny home movement. So 68%, think about that, guys. 68% of tiny home owners don't have a mortgage. Think about that for a second. No monthly mortgage payment. Now, before anyone starts to pack your boxes, I'm not saying that everyone should sell their home and move into a 250 or 300 square foot home. That's not what this is about. What if this wasn't permanent? What if it was a strategy? Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe just long enough to pay off your debt. Build a solid emergency fund, max out your retirement, save for your kids or your grandkids' college funds, or finally build enough wealth that your next home is one you can actually afford, maybe even to pay for cash. So imagine quietly stepping back into a larger home, if that's what you want, without a mountain of credit card debt, without a car payment hanging over your head, and maybe, just maybe, without a mortgage at all. Now, that's a different conversation, not having a mortgage at all, because it isn't really about tiny living at all, is it? It's about living intentionally. It's about creating options for you and your family. It's about buying yourself some breathing room. So that tells me that this isn't some quirky little trend anymore. It's a growing conversation about financial freedom, peace of mind, and redefining what success actually looks like. Now, everyone's situation is different. A tiny home isn't the right answer for every family. It's not the right answer for every career or even every stage of life. But that's the whole point, though. This isn't about copying someone else's lifestyle. It's about asking yourself, what's the smartest financial move for my life right now? That's the question worth exploring. And if conversations like this get your wheels turning, you probably would also love the Underground Almanac newsletter. So our videos are where we start asking the questions. The newsletter is where we really dig into the research, the strategies, the numbers, and the opportunities that simply don't fit into one YouTube video or one episode. So I'll leave a link in the description box as well that will take you over to the newsletter, and I think you would also enjoy reading that. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on the housing trap. And as always, thank you for joining us for the Underground Almanac, where we are quietly discovering how to do life better with less.